So it's that time again, or is it always that time? Hello, herro friends, it's Meg, and I'm a task management nomad again. What is that, you may ask? It's just a term that I made up to say that I'm bored with my current productivity system, and so I'm trying out different methods, which makes me a nomad. It made sense in my head. I am bored of my current system, or my former system now, because I'm trying new stuff out right now. So I wanted to make this video to kind of document my process of trying different systems out and talk to you through like how I'm trying different things out, how that's going, and also talk about pulling myself out of shiny new toy syndrome. So let's get into it. If you've been watching my channel for a while or you've seen my other videos, then you will know that I was an avid bullet journaler. So what happened? Well, the short answer is I got bored of it. It doesn't spark excitement for me anymore, and this is not the fault of the bullet journaling method at all. If anything, it's my own fault because it just kind of got a little bit repetitive for me and I got bored of the system. And again, not the fault of the system because the system worked great for me for a really long time and I still really like the concept and the functionality of the system itself. It's just that I feel a little bit bored of the implementation of it right now in my life, and I think part of it is due to the fact that I stick to a very minimal setup. I lost the sense of excitement that I had about opening my bullet journal, because before I was really excited every single day when I would open my bullet journal and figure out what I was going to do and plan everything out, but I just kind of lost that excitement recently. And again, it might be partially due to the fact that I keep it very simple, but I think other things are involved where, you know, I'm starting to kick off a few projects in my life that need a little bit more of a project management type of system rather than just task management. And bullet journals, because it is analog, has a harder time dealing with a little bit more complexity and dealing with bigger projects. Like, it's possible, there are workarounds and there are ways to do it. It's just not super intuitive for me and it's not really working well for me. And so that might be another reason that it's not working super well for me right now. So I actually left the bullet journal method a little bit in the last few weeks to try out other task management apps like Todoist and Things 3. And I used it for a couple of days and it worked really well for those few days that I used it, but there were a few things that I didn't like about them that ultimately made me decide not to go through with them. I realized that the digital list format, like Todoist and Things 3, where like it's a task management app that allows you to create different lists, and with Things 3 you can create like areas of life and projects within them. So Things 3 in particular worked really well with how my brain was working in terms of managing projects in my life, but I realized that there's a lot less customizability when it comes to like the visual aspect. And it makes me sound a little bit vain, but I think it's quite important. The aesthetic and being able to feel like that thing is mine is really important to me. And so using Things 3, using Todoist, it was very practical and useful, but it was not super fun for me. It felt very like mechanical, and as beautiful as those apps are, it didn't have the tactileness that I really wanted with task management. And I think the fact that with both of the list type of apps, once you check something off, it goes away, or in Things 3, like it goes into a logbook, and you can choose whether it goes into the logbook immediately or at the end of the day, but still like it kind of like disappears from like the view. That wasn't super great for me because I would end up doing a bunch of things and then be like, okay, what did I even do though? And again, like there are ways to go back and look at what you did, but it wasn't right there in front of you. Just like you would have to click on a few things in order to navigate there. And if I'm being honest with myself, at the end of the day when I'm tired and done with all of my work, I'm not going to like go through the extra few minutes to like navigate to the other place and be like, what did I do today? I just want that to be like visually there all the time, because it helps me keep track of, oh, like I was able to do this much today, or I wasn't able to get around to everything, but it's okay, kind of thing. So that was really important to me, and that's something that the list type of task management apps didn't have for me. But trying out the list apps made me realize that going digital might be a good direction to go in regardless, because even though I like the analog system, the fact that like you can move stuff around and be flexible, that's definitely more available in the digital sphere than it is in the analog sphere. So I was like, okay, maybe going in the digital direction is not a bad idea. And so I decided to try out Sunsama for a few days. And for those of you who don't know, Sunsama is a daily planning app which consolidates a lot of your tasks, emails, different project management things into one platform, so that you can like have a dashboard where you control everything, or like see everything in one place. So you can like integrate with ClickUp, Notion, Todoist, Gmail, and also time block on your Google Calendar with the different tasks that you want to accomplish that day. And so it's a very like all-in-one kind of app. It encompasses a lot of things. And I first of all really liked how it looked, which was really important to me. And like the look and feel of the app is so minimal and functional, yet really like nice. And I really appreciated that. So I really liked the UI in general. And then the second thing I really loved about Sunsama was the fact that it had a focus on intentional productivity. So they really incorporate a sense of like mindfulness into your productivity by telling you like, do you want to do all of these things? Do you need to do all of these things today? They tell you if you're overworking yourself, and they have these like built-in planning and shutdown rituals which really help you to reflect on the day and plan ahead for the next day and stuff like that. So I really liked Sunsama, but as someone who doesn't have a steady income right now, I cannot justify the cost of Sunsama. And like, I understand why it's priced the way that it is, and I think there is a lot of people that can benefit from Sunsama despite the fact that it's expensive, because it just gives you back so much of your time. And so like it's a worthy investment, but I just don't have that money right now. I just can't afford it, is the honest truth. And so I might explore Sunsama again once I get a job and I feel more comfortable spending more money on productivity apps, but for now I just can't afford it. So another app that I tried after Sunsama that I thought might be a good fit for me is called ToDo. It's another great app that is similar to Sunsama in the sense that it's more of a planner app than it is like a task list app like Todoist and Things 3. So that's why I tried it, but it ended up being a little bit too simple in the sense that there were a few things that I wanted to do in the app that I couldn't do, which for what the app is trying to do, I think it makes sense why I couldn't do the things I wanted to do, like adding notes and calendar blocking and stuff like that. But it didn't quite fit what I need in an app right now, and so I ended up, not continuing with it. And having tried all of these different apps and different methods, it kind of felt like I was going in a circle because I was discovering new things as I went, but I wasn't writing any of it down and just kind of going with a feeling of like, oh, this app might be helpful, or like this looks cool. And so I was like, okay, I've tried a lot of things now and I have a better idea of what I want, what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like. And so I decided to sit down and kind of make a list of the things that actually matter to me right now in a task management system. And so I wanted to share some of that with you in the hopes of helping you come up with a list of your own, because if you're a task management nomad like me, then you might benefit from going through this process too, because a lot of times we're attracted to different apps because of everything that it promises us that it can do, and then we're like, oh, like this is great. But then you realize it's not working for you because you actually didn't really need those functions, and the functions that you actually need aren't supported in that app. And so like you kind of get lost because there's a bunch of new shiny toys, and so you're like, oh, I want this, I want that, but then you kind of forget like what you actually need. So I think this is a good process for anyone who's like me and gets bored really easily, so let's get into the list of things that I actually need in a task management system. My first and biggest criteria is excitement. I have to be excited about using the system because task management is something I have to do every single day, and I don't want to resent the process or like feel turned off by the process, because you know, I do really like getting things done and being productive. And so, you know, I really want to be excited to use the systems that I implement in my life. And so excitement is the biggest thing. And I want to differentiate here that that doesn't mean that I am going to jump onto every new shiny thing, even though I've had that tendency before. I don't want to be like that anymore because, again, like I've tried so many things, and just because it's shiny and new doesn't mean it fits me. So I want to be more intentional about trying new things. But I think the excitement factor outside of this like shiny new toy syndrome is really important. So that's why I wanted to put it at the front of my list. I think the second thing that is really important to me is tangibility, and that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be analog, but I think the tactile feeling of like checking something off or visually being able to see how much work I was able to get done that day, how much I wasn't able to get to, and then seeing how much I have on my plate tomorrow. Like these more visual and tactile things are really important to me because out of sight, out of mind is so true for me as someone with ADHD. And so, you know, this tactileness and being able to have tangibility when it comes to task management is really important for me in order to stay motivated and to actually be able to plan efficiently. And I think the third thing that's really important to me is having the flexibility to be able to weekly plan and daily plan, because I found that it's really important for me to be able to see the week and be able to kind of spread out my tasks so that I don't overload one day. But if I just have a weekly view, it's hard for me to manage everything because I get a little bit distracted by everything else that's happening in the week. And so I need like a daily view where I can just focus on today and plan out what I need to do for that day. And taking these things into account, I decided for now to try out digital planning, which is where you have a digital planner, which is like a PDF file with links, and you use it like a paper planner that you buy because it has like the pre-built monthly views and weekly and daily views and stuff like that, but you can do it digitally, and so you can move stuff around, erase things easily, and have a lot more customization because you're just kind of annotating a PDF essentially. So that's what I'm trying right now. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I feel a lot better about it because I made the list beforehand, and so I know that it's meeting the criteria of the things that actually matter to me. And so even if this doesn't work out, I feel much better about the fact that I'm trying something new with intention rather than just trying out something new because it's new. So there is no satisfying conclusion to this video just because I'm still in the process of figuring things out, but I thought it would be worth making this video to just show that I don't have everything figured out either. I definitely suffer from shiny new toy syndrome a lot of times, but either way, I hope you still enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!